called Charm Thursday, and it's a free download from Moda Fabrics. There is a link in the description below the video, and I'll put it up here right now. You can click on that and download it from Moda. It's made with charm squares, which are 5-inch squares cut. You can use charm packs, you can use leftover charm packs, you can cut your own 5-inch squares, and you can use fat quarters. There are instructions on how to cut the 5-inch squares from the fat quarters on the pattern itself. I like to, I use my AccuQuilt for a lot of scrap cutting, well, for a lot of cutting anyway. And when I have scraps left over from projects, I'll cut, if I have enough, I'll cut 10-inch squares for layer cake quilt patterns, and another one I cut are light and dark 5-inch squares for charm quilt patterns. There's so many patterns available out there for the charms and the layer cakes and the jelly rolls and whatnot. Those are good ways for me to use up my scraps. When I have leftovers, I'll just cut them up, because otherwise they'll just be thrown in the closet or in a bin and they won't get used. So you will need 120 dark squares and 150 light squares. You'll take all of your dark squares and cut them in half. So you'll have 2.5 by 5 inches on both sides. Keep them in 2 separate stacks for now. You're going to take 30 of the light squares and cut them. I stack them 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 at a time. And we're going to cut them twice in half. So we'll have 4 2.5-inch squares from each charm square. So you'll cut like this, and then cut like this. And you'll have 4 small squares from each charm square. And if you're using 30 charm squares, you'll end up with 120 of these 2.5-inch squares, light squares. The first thing you're going to do is take the remaining 120 light squares and then 1 stack of your dark rectangles. And you're going to take the whole stack and you're going to piece them together like this. And once you piece them together, you're going to press toward the dark fabric. So that's that. Then you're going to take all of your 2.5-inch squares you cut and the remaining stack of the rectangles, the dark rectangles, and you're going to piece them like this. And you'll also press toward the dark fabric. Now when you finish all that piecing and pressing, you'll have 120 of the left side and 120 of the right side, and you'll piece these together. And this is what you end up with. This is your block. Very simple, and I call this a mindless quilt because once you cut it, even the cutting is a little bit mindless, but once you cut it, it's just chain piecing to get everything done. And then you're going to lay them out. You're going to piece these in vertical rows. And what I like to do is I just grab them and I don't lay them out first. Since mine is totally scrappy, I just grab the next one and just piece them. But you can lay them out to make sure you're happy with the placement of the fabrics. So there's 2, these are pieced in vertical rows, and there'll be 10 blocks across and 12 blocks down. So you're going to piece a vertical row of 12 blocks going down. The odd number rows are going to have the light square in the upper right hand corner. So these will be pieced together like this, and the next one like this. Do this with 12 blocks all the way down. And now the even rows will have the light square in the lower left hand corner. So these will all go like this. And so you'll piece 5 in this direction and 5 in this direction. And then you'll piece these rows together to get your final quilt. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you do this really quick and easy quilt. It's a great way to use up your scraps.